So
I mean,
if we want to start the episode before we start talking about conspiracy theories, and whatever,
I want
to
let's talk about this. Is our conspiracy theory episode because
Minisode,
right? I think the general premise is that conspiracy theories are our fundamental premise, I think, on the show, and I don't know if everybody's in agreement, is that conspiracy theories are dumb because they expect a certain level of competence and organization among that is never
shown itself in any other form of humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
Aspirational.
Just
like
I want.
I'd like for them to be true, just because I'd like to believe human beings were capable of that level of ability in anything.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever told anybody a secret or been like, have people come up to you and told you a secret that they literally heard 5 seconds ago, and were the first things that they were probably told was, hey, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody, but. Guess what
I just heard.
Yeah, guess what I just heard.
The two things that you have to believe any of these conspiracy theories is, one, that there are people out there capable of the shit they had to do to get it done.
And not just one or two, like a whole group of competent...
that's the second part, is how many people would have to be involved.
Part is keeping the secret
and that you're telling me that you got thousands of people to not say anything?
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That's no way...
That's my 9/11, we did 9/11 ourselves kind of like one where it's like, oh, you had a bunch of people put bombs in a building that, somebody's going to talk. That's like more than one person.
No, that's what I mean. Like, there's no, like I said, if you can get yourself to believe that people are at least capable of getting the shit done that they claim they do, the fact that you also believe that that many humans would be capable of keeping a secret for this long.
Yeah, it's not really believable.
Those two levels of shit you have to believe in the conspiracy theories that some people believe in is a fucking amazing.
I know. It's like, it's the more you think about people, just think about people that you know in your own life and how likely they would be to tell you if they were involved in like some of these conspiracies.
Absolutely.
Like, if I knew somebody that was like had helped hide a crashed alien spaceship, I think they would be like, "Yo, man, dude, look, I'm not supposed to say this."
Absolutely.
But shit, dude, I got this call one night, and I had, they said like we need extra tow trucks, and yeah, I was like hauling ET's RV, out of like.
When I was a kid, I went through a phase where I was obsessed with the JFK assassination.
like a 6-year-old?
I was probably like 11.
That's still kind of young.
That's still kind of young to be
That's still kind
obsessed.
of young, dude.
You were an interesting kid.
Like 11 or 12. I was, look, you're an only child. You got nobody else around. You got to make your own fun.
Going into watching the JFK's Reuter
so
films.
I read the Warren Report. Like, out of the library.
When you were 11?
Yeah, like 11 or 12, something like that, probably.
Oh, that's great.
I read a bunch of the other, there's a million JFK books, and I read several of them. And then several years later, when Oliver Stone's JFK movie came out, that was like seeing everything I had read as a child come to life.
Yeah,
because every conspiracy theory there is in that movie.
Right.
Like, it's not just one, like the mafia did it. It's like, no, it was the mafia and LBJ and the communists and Castro and a bunch of homosexuals living in New Orleans.
Right.
And like, it was a global conspiracy.
Wow.
And I was just talking to Min and Nate the other day about how Donald Sutherland is one of those actors that is always good, even in bad movies, and can sell things that you would think are not sellable as an actor. He's the one who has to lay it all out in that movie. There's that like 20-minute long sequence where he meets Kevin Costner in the park and lays out the entire saga. Yeah. And it's the only reason it works is because Donald Sutherland is the one saying it to you. And you're like, yeah. When he says it, it sounds believable.
That's the only way it could have been. It couldn't have been a wackadoo.
At the end of that scene, you're like, fuck, Donald Sutherland figured it out.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I know. I think it's like people like to pull patterns out of, random events, and it's just like we always.
Oh, I mean, absolutely.
And we don't like missing pieces, and we don't like the fact that like it just. there's some kind of like incongruity, like why things happen sometimes, and we don't understand all the motivations, and some things don't make rational sense. But that's the thing we always got to remember is like, people aren't rational. They don't necessarily always operate on a rational level. There's not going to be this A to B to C. Like there is crazy mixed in there.
The bumper sticker version of this is shit happens.
Yeah,
and there's no rhyme or reason to any of it.
And one of its obligations is not to make sense to you. You know what I mean? It's just like there's a lot.
And I get all of that. I'll say like, okay, something like 9/11 happens, right? You're trying to make sense of something like that. So you glom onto bizarre things that make you feel better about your worldview, right?
Right.
Where does the conspiracy theory about something like Roswell come from?
It's
because there was no event.
But there was like some weather balloon. There's like some little bits of information. There was like
this makes me think about urban legends.
Right.
More like that side of why humans like to tell stories, and that conspiracy theories are just like kind of a cousin to that.
Yeah, they are. It's just like there was like a weather balloon weather balloon event or some kind, and the military was testing.
But all of that stuff. What I'm saying was all of that stuff like big news across the world.
I think that's one of those. That's one of those stories. That's kind of like that route.
My point is,
and people think that they were there, or they know somebody.
Somebody in Illinois or something like that picks up a newspaper and says, "Oh my God, there was a weather balloon that blew up or crashed in Roswell, New Mexico." Right? Why would I ever think that there was anything more than that? Where would I go? Why would I spend any time trying to figure out what had happened?
Well, I think that the way those news stories propagated was probably different. Like, I don't think there was that's my point. They came in. That information seeped out there for some reason.
Why are you so angry, Sean? My God.
I just don't understand it.
We're just having a little polite conversation
I
here.
don't understand
There's no reason to shout.
Wasn't it like tabloid fodder? Isn't that like somebody tried to, had profit to be made off of
Do you
a
think
story?
they just
I think
made it up for profit?
I think it was I think it was a local story.
It was a local. The locals all thought they saw. You know what it really was, Sean? Let's tie it back into what we're here for. It was the Ferengi.
Yeah,
were responsible for.
Of course,
Roswell.
Yes,
in the world of Star Trek, anyway.
Yes, that is true. We'll get to
that in
eventually.
15 years or so.
Just going back to urban legends, I actually took a class at UCLA.
Oh, we have a scholar,
urban legends.
Somebody who's done.
And it was an interesting class, but it was hilarious too because there was a woman there that claimed she was at the hospital the night Richard Gere came in.
Oh,
with a gerbil.
Yeah.
Lodged.
Where was it? I forget where was it.
We're all talking about how these things come to pass and this and that. And she's like, I was there when he came in.
She claimed she was physically
at the
there.
ER the night that Richard
Not my
Gere.
friend, not my... I was there.
Yeah. She was at the hospital.
She was the gerbil.
Patient zero of that rumor is what you're saying.
So I'll never forget that. That's the main takeaway.
So you said... And
the whole thing was how like these things kind of grow up and people tell and adopt
sort of the folklore part of it.
Well, that's the whole thing, right?
That night in 19...
She was the Lemming Winks to his Mr. Slave.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That this was... Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing, right? That it's possible that most of these things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know that they have, but it's like
they get so far away from the central person.
It's like a telephone
because every
game.
time, instead of somebody saying, I heard this, they say it, oh, this happened to me.
Yeah.
Right? Even though
or
they were the
happened
20th.
to my friend.
I mean, it's all so unverifiable, and it's so easy to make yourself...
That's how it gets closer and closer. That's how it's always like, I know a friend who said this.
Yeah, but you start getting into like, oh, I was there when that happened, or I was there when OJ...
Sure.
But it's like, you just know that people just naturally do that, and it's not necessarily malicious, but it's almost like you just sort of make your life more interesting by
But I think that in my theory is on things like conspiracy theories, the people that really believe them, a lot of times, and I get, like I say, things like the moon landing and things like that, right?
You get that?
I not that I get with their point. I still don't but I understand them wanting to find out.
Yeah.
I say, here's something to me seems impossible. Therefore, I need to find out how this happened. And then you start finding all these theories about why it was faked and blah, blah, blah. That fits more in with what you believe. So you believe that and you go on with it, right? I understand that logic of someone who has a conspiracy theory.
But that's not the logic that's ever applied.
But that and
Correct.
my point is that what's the logic that lets you to believe that if you heard a story about a weather balloon crashing in Roswell, New Mexico, you would ever spend any time researching that?
No, but I think what it is
How does something like that?
Somebody's knocking on your door.
I will see who it is.
Well, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I bet if only there were a way to look up information about the origins of stories. I bet if you went to such a fictional place,
Well,
maybe we could call it the web. you could look into the origins of the Roswell story. I'm sure that information is available.
The web, that's a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah, the
about
web is the
internet.
biggest conspiracy of them all, man.
Oh, no,
So
that's called
it was
the net.
designed by the
That-
government to keep us down, to distract us with porn and puppy gifs and, videos of people's food.
Well played, government.
And it's worked.
And it's
played.
worked.
Worked really well.
We live in a fucking you said you wanted to live in the Matrix? You do. Welcome.
It's not, but I still have to do shit.
Yeah.
Well, it's an imperfect thing,
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, it can't. The Matrix
It
can't be too perfect.
It can't
yeah.
be perfect.
Or we would disbelieve.
God, that's an in-story, part of the mythology, man.
Yeah.
So what happened? Did we determine that things were?
I mean, we're overthinking conspiracy theorists.
Sean is overthinking it.
The
The rest of us
origin
are ready
of-
to move on.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Somebody
Okay.
drove by.
Just kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
apologize. You guys are dicks.
I'm kidding. We
I
haven't
didn't even start
started
this
the
fucking
episode.
conversation.
I thought it was gonna be fun.
I was going to start talking about the episode. Or Philippe had to decide to talk about it.
I just think you're giving people too much credit. Somebody drove by the crash weather balloon. It was like, it's like that looks like
aliens.
one of them UFOs.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't tell
yeah.
Marjorie.
Somebody was like, I heard it.
I get where that starts from within. I
His
just
question
don't
is, how did
understand-
it get into a wider world?
How does that get into a wider world?
Well, I mean, I think
Somebody picked it up and some news story ran.
Okay, but it's like
But that's
also
why-
the dawning of the space age. It's
And
dawning of
the
like
people
And the
that-
National Enquirer were like,
I
they
am-
say it's a weather balloon, but was it? And, it turns into
science fiction was like at an all-time
People are
high.
stupid, Sean.
and, yeah, people are.
Okay.
You get people to
All right.
believe anything.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
At no point or not a significant occurrence was there somebody who I'm going to research this, and I looked at all the conspiracy theories and then I reviewed the logical information, and they thought to themselves, the conspiracies are more compelling. It's just somebody told them and they were like, the government would do that, covering up those things.
Yeah.
No checking beyond that.
I
It's
think there was actually, Richard Feynman. who
Telling
was
you,
like,
I read the Warren Report, and there were flaws.
And there was another.
There was like everybody focuses on the mistakes. Like that's like or like a little
But
like.
I was going to say, when you said you did that at 11, I can honestly say I don't think I was aware that there was a JFK assassination.
And I don't know, now that I think about it, how that all, what spurred that. Like,
Not only would I
I
not
must have seen
research
something on TV, or I don't know. I must
I
have seen
think
something
The
about
first time I ever even really heard about it was when JFK was coming out.
it. Yeah.
That was when I had first heard that there was. I mean, I knew he had been assassinated. I did not know that there was
Conspiracy
about
I think
who assassinated
Probably in
him.
I
high
don't know
school,
where I
I
heard
heard
about
stuff
that.
about it, but I don't think I was ever like, okay,
And
sure.
When I heard about it, I saw JFK and then decided I had no desire to research this any further
Yep.
because this is all bullshit.
It's bullshit, but it's it's interesting.
I think people are just like people like to make connections, man. There's like
I know.
and things are often connected, which is like really satisfying about
It's
it.
a nonfiction version of an Agatha Christie story,
Yeah.
right? You think if I put the clues together, I can figure out what really happened,
yeah.
right?
But you don't.
It's
realize,
just that's all it is. It's Hercule Poirot, but there's no actual solution.
yeah, and
It's
the,
just
and the thing is, when you
fucking
get older,
around for fun.
when you get older, and you realize Agatha Christie could have picked any one of the people to be the villain, and the pattern would still work because she could make it work had she wanted to. You know what I mean? It's just like you can almost come up and at the end and sort of that's the thing. It's like if you're really looking for a pattern to give you a certain solution, you're gonna find it that's going to be the solution that you're going to come to, because you're going to make it all fit into this vision.
Sure, I understand
Yeah.
the concept of researching something when you already believe the thing you're researching.
But
It's
also
easy
selective
to
bias, right? It's also a confirmation
you
bias.
consistently convince yourself you're right,
Right.
by finding the information. You ignore the information that doesn't
Right.
agree with you, and you only listen to the small, it's like it could be 90-10.
Yeah.
90% of the information you find doesn't agree with your point of view. 10% does, but the 10% is all you listen to.
Right. Or you magnify that.
Yeah, you make it 90-10 the other way.
Yeah. Or you hypernormalize.
You're saying,
That's the.
Speaking of Agatha Christie, isn't she the one that was involved in a conspiracy of her own, where she faked her own? People think she faked her own disappearance,
It's not. Yeah,
and she disappeared and reappeared safely 2 weeks later at a hotel.
Yeah, the only reason I know about this is because they did an episode of Drunk History about it.
There's a terrible movie.
that's where Jake found out about it as well.
Love me some drunk history.
Yeah, there's a terrible movie with it, about it. I think I forget who was in it though. It's just about
I mean,
speculation.
she came back. It wasn't like she didn't vanish forever.
Right.
But she
it-
clearly had just gone away to the countryside or something for a couple of weeks because she was sick of people giving her shit. And then she came back and people were like, "Where were you?"
Yeah.
She was like, "I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because if I tell you where I was, you fuckers will come and find me when I try and go away the next time."
Yeah.
Mystery solved.
It was good for her career.
Yeah, which I think is good. Speaking
Maybe that's
speaking
why she
about
did it. Maybe she's like, I need to make people a little, think I'm a little mysterious myself.
yeah.
Well,
All
are
right.
we ready to start the episode?
I think
we
so.
are.
All right.
I've used up all my good material.
Well,
We've got it all recorded.
40
We're
minutes we
good.
just did
people are gonna know
before the episode.
start being able to tell second episodes from first episodes.
Yeah.
I bet you already can.
Yeah.
I bet if you hear a third episode,
You're
you can really tell it's
Okay,
a
they
third
did
episode.
3 episodes one day.
Yeah.
I'll do more narrating of what we're doing in the studio. It's and we're now all holding hands in silence, which is why this silence is stretching on.
Yeah.
We took a short prayer break.
Filling in the blanks.
You should just fill in the gaps,
Yeah.
Jake, with whatever you want.
Yeah.
The various stimulants are having
There's
their
Just
more
play,
than a 2 or 3 second gap.
Yeah,
Just
play a
fill
little
in
play a little
dialogue.
music.
yeah.
yeah. Philippe, please remove the
Get all
the
get all
spatula.
get all
play-
Godardi in it with
you
it.
can
Start
play it-
putting in jump cuts. Just start introducing weird shit. Why not?
My guess is I'm curious about I want to know people when they listen to it, whether they listen to it as it is intended or just listen to it.
Right.
I would
What do you
presume
mean as it is?
As it is.
Intended as you will listen to it while watching the episode.
Oh, while watching the
I
show.
don't-
I see what you mean.
I don't think they'll.
I would bet you not.
Most
Because
people
I bet
won't.
90% of people listen to podcasts
In their car, right.
Or
Yeah.
at the gym,
Oh.
yeah.
or
But I would
run,
just-
while they're
Oh
running.
no, there's a problem
I
with
would
our
be-
whole concept.
I would. I don't give a shit about that.
It's.
I knew
yeah.
that from the start. It's fine. I don't care. I don't care where they listen to it. I just care that they listen to it. Don't matter to me how they listen to it. I was just curious. I'm just curious.
I
Yeah.
will be
And I'd
super
like to-
excited if one person does it while watching the actual episode.
Well, I know at least one has because our friend Lewis has listened to these while watching the episode.
Oh,
I think of the allure of knowing
would,
that
by
you.
He's the only one I know that would.
Sicko, sick son of a
The
bitch.
allure of knowing that you can watch it as a commentary.
I'm
if you
barely
want
comfortable asking people to listen to it at all,
Yeah.
much less dictating how
How
they,
they
listen to it.
Oh, you didn't listen to it with the episode on? You haven't listened to it.
Do it again and
Wow.
do it right this time.
Right.
To. That doesn't work. We actually need to
Yeah.
just say that.